Okay, this is Oriel, and he's laying out a piece of plywood for slip forms. He's got a drawing down there in front of him with the numbers printed out with an inkjet printer. And they put nails in to make the grids and put fishing line on the nails. And now he's marking the screw holes. We mark screw holes as well as the ones for the big bolts they go through. So this sheet's got 20 holes for half-inch threaded rods to hold the two halves of the forms, and there'd be 5-inch or 7-inch pipe spacers, half-inch blue pipe between the two forms, sets the thickness and keeps it all squared up. And 2, 4, 6, 8, be 32 nail holes plus 10, 42 screw holes that it puts the 2x3s on the back. This is some that are screwed together. You'll notice that on the top, the phenolic board runs up past the 2x3. That's so that the through bolt, when you raise it up, it won't be run on the edge of the concrete, which could break the previous cast. You know, you could break the concrete off. So that gives you 5 inches of leverage. And if we pull the forms the day after we pour it, then we can bolt it right back up while you have your hand on it. You have to wipe the form down with WD-40, and sometimes the washer's soaked in water. You got to get the cement off. It's a cumulative thing. The more that's on there, the quicker it sticks and the harder it sticks. Now he's marking we drill 5/8 holes for the half-inch threaded rods. It goes across side to side. And he's put a paint marker circle around those, and there'll only be a dot where the screw holes are rather than a big circle. We're basically going to drill clear through this sheet. What about a 5mm or thereabouts drill bit? And that lets us mark the next sheet down below it. Like we'll stack up 3 sheets and we'll drill through this one and the next 2. And then he can set this aside, and he set where we can see both of them at the same time. And you run your 5/8 bit about 1/3 of the way through this phenolic board. And then you flip it over and you back drill from the other side. That keeps it from splintering the phenolic board. It keeps it. You need that slick face to keep it from sticking. Concrete will stick to the wood where there's no phenolic board. I mean, it's cement. It's doing what it says it does. It's cementing them together. So anyway, we're gonna make this pattern, and then we'll make 7. This one plus 7 be 8 total sheets this size, and then we're gonna cut 2 sheets into 4 feet long and make 4-foot forms. What we did, we figured out how many forms we needed to have for the cistern to make a whole shape all the way around the cistern, a continuous rectangular like wall, and we'll pour as far as we can get with the gas mixer, pull full height on the forms, and if we're only 2/3 of the way around and everybody's tired or it gets dark or something because the mixer's quit, then we'll just leave it tapered off which gives us a longer bond line and a real rough surface to stick it to. And then when we get started, usually the next morning, we'll mix up some slurry of just some cement and water, and we'll pour that on that surface. It might be 1/8 of an inch thick or thereabouts. But that's when we start pouring actual concrete, that gives us sort of a way to stick the two of them together. We have got concrete bonding agent. We use it for other things, but we don't try to get down there amongst all that rebar and and use bonding agent down in there. We've used it. If you have a divot or something in a ceiling, or it's not a level from where one form was to the other, you may put some up there and slap some render on it. But in general, we didn't render anything that was overhead. All we have overhead here is skim coat. These column faces here are skim coat. We were going to do something else on those, but now we're going to just leave it skim coat. These up here, the spider beam legs and the ceilings between them, that's just skim coat. And this rim around here, we're going to put a molding on that eventually. For now, it's skim coat. I'm waiting for it to get some in. We're sort of quarantined in the town you live in now. But the hardware stores are open 10 to 5. Trouble is they haven't got anything. These people didn't deliver stuff that was ordered. They get the stock down, they ordered more, but it doesn't come. The lockdown kept it from leaving where it was supposed to come from. So they ended up short on stock, and now they could sell everything they had, but they haven't got it to sell. I'm going to do a video on these drawings. This would be the septic tank.
Septic tank.
Yeah, septic tank drawing. It shows you what forms. There's a bigger scale where you could actually read these numbers. 131.5923. The two arms of the corners are different lengths, just because it uses 100% of the plywood. And then around it, laid down flat, are the sheets of phenolic board. And laid flat from that is the rebar. And then the next drawing would scale back to show the full height of the rebar and all the stuff. There's numbers on the rebar panels. 1, 2, 3 is for septic tank. 4, 5, 6 is cistern. Floppy pond. 7 and 8 is the cistern, and 9 and 10 is the dirty kitchen. What we were going to look at was a way to straighten this out. I wired this myself. I don't like the job I did, so I'm having them taken back apart. Problem is the breakers up here have 3 and 4 wires under each screw to make more breakers per given room. Basically, all receptacles come to a breaker. If one of these pipes coming up from downstairs has 3 pairs, like a blue pair, a red pair, and a white pair, and plus a green wire, then that's three receptacle sets downstairs. And what we're changing to is we got a big terminal block here in the middle, and we're going to put the 2 wires here, high leg, low leg, times 3, And we're gonna stick these wires I got all jammed up under here. Can't tell if they're connected or not. We're gonna put them on in pairs down here. But you have three pairs, say, coming out of this pipe. They won't go all to the same place on the terminal strip. They go to the top pair, one to the middle pair, one to the bottom pair, and then maybe one on the other side. And basically, every receptacle has got a live feedback to a breaker. Any problems you have will be inside this box. This orange things here, this is for our 3- and 4-way switches. And they're numbered. I did those kind of numbers, and everybody else used paper and Scotch tape. But number's a number. I don't care. The wires that on the pipe sticking back through the back wall, they'll go up, because this column would have been poured after this floor that we're looking at down here. The column stands on top of the floor. So none of that conduit that's coming out of the back of that box and going up can go any place but out the top. It may turn and come back down into this wall over here, or it might be some of the 570 feet of conduit that's inside that spider beam. But we know it doesn't go to the first floor. The living quarters are down below us. This is our passive cooling. The shape of the concrete cools the house. And it gives you storage rooms you can put stuff in or whatever. If there's a terrible catastrophe and people are on the street with nowhere to stay, you can put beds or mattresses or whatever the town can move in. I don't know how many people could live in a house this big. It's a matter of feeding them more than housing them. We'll have a cistern for water. It's just a matter of if the Baron guy can distribute enough food to keep them all alive. But they're definitely welcome if things go bad. This has got to have a door put on it. I don't know whether simple galvanized sheet metal or some kind of a wood cabinet door. Probably ought to be fireproof. I don't know. We were going to render this room, just like we'd rendered it downstairs, but it's not really a room. And you can tell that the concrete meets up pretty flush everywhere. You know, I mean, I'm not sure what render will get you when the concrete itself is pretty flat. Probably as flat as the render would be. It was against a piece of plywood. We have to knock those orange pipes out. They're going to be hard to knock out because we let them sit in there for a year. That concrete won't be any more stuck than it is right now. I don't know whether to take the hot air blower and soften them up first, or make a machined piece that fits tight in the inside and catches the whole rim, knocking it out with a 2-pound hammer. Texas Filipino pushes out with a stick. But we didn't stop turning our bolts until they were like 2 threads past touching. And we should have only tightened them a half a turn, because it bulged the pipe. You know, from one side to the other, it's upset. When you get one out, you can see the shape. It's not a cylinder anymore, and that's why they're hard to get out. My bad. I'd never done that before. The other concrete house I built was 2 brick walls, 14 inches of concrete, 2 layers of rebar between the brick walls. That was a fun day. 27 truckloads of concrete and a pump. 4 hours later, we had a house. Took 6 months to build the thing. Most of that was putting up the brick walls. And then there's a 40-foot greenhouse on the roof. I don't know, 12-sided maybe. We never lived there. They wanted too much to bring the electric in. Places like that right there, there's about a 1/8 of an inch step between those 2 pieces of concrete. One right in the middle of the screen. We can put 2 layers of skim coat there and catch that without having to try to put thin render. I worry about it sticking when it gets that thin. And the ceilings have nothing but render. And they looked rougher than the walls when we pulled the forms. The walls look smooth compared to the ceiling. And the skim coat fixed that right up. Okay, that's what we're doing today, just so we have something we might want to post. This was my second box I was started on. And you can see how it was going. I decided I'd step back and think a while. Okay.